apparently now we are getting a female called Jenica, and she is going to be joining as the 5th Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I've had to calm down a bit, guys, since finding out this information this morning.
More importantly, what I don't like is this, hey, look, here's a 5th Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. You must love this character because, of course, it's a whammon.
Female Mutant Ninja Turtle. Hell yeah, guys. It's about time we got female representation in a series that was made for boys. I absolutely love how there's nothing feminine looking about her at all. Feminism, guys!
And before I get into this whole crazy story, I'm reminded of the meme, basically. It says, adding a character to a story just to be more, quote, inclusive is the single most pointless thing in millennial movies or TV. And I'd pretty much say that nails it.
Welcome back to another episode of Red Responds. As you can probably tell from that lovely intro, I'll be covering these outrage grifters' takes on the new female Ninja Turtle. As a fan of the Turtles, and this run in particular, I want to lay out just how uninformed they are about it in this video. Let's get into their first major complaint.
I'm all for introducing new characters, but you need to introduce them as small side characters first, right? They just need to have a very tiny part. And if they work and if they appeal to the audience, then you gradually start writing more and more content for them, bringing them into the fold. This is the natural progression of how you expand franchises.
Salty Cracker here has never picked up an issue of this run in the 8 years IDW has put it out. Jenica may mutate into a turtle in issue number 95, but that isn't the first issue she appears in. That honor goes to issue number 51, released in October of 2015. After her attempt on Splinter's life in issue number 52, she is demoted from the Assassin cast and granted the opportunity to regain her honor. Fast forward in the series to her appearance in issue number 64, where she kills the captured Darius Dunn when he refuses to submit to Splinter's Foot Clan. This event leads to Donatello and Raphael leaving the Foot Clan and rejoining Michelangelo. Leonardo leaves conflicted at the behest of Splinter to lead and protect his brothers now that Splinter no longer can. With the Turtles out of the foot, Jenica eventually rises to the rank of Chunin by the time the Triceraton invasion goes down in issue number 76. From there, we have another 18 issues in the ongoing before her mutation in issue number 95. Obviously, there's further development of her character across those issues and the minis, macros, and TMNT Universe issues that came out. Everything Cracker wants a franchise to do when introducing new characters is what was done with Jenica.
So my gut reaction to this is, there's nothing really planned out here, no long-term plan for this character. She doesn't even seem to fit into the established dynamic of the 4 original characters. She doesn't have a Renaissance name, and she doesn't have a weapon specialization. I mean, didn't anybody who's making this comic play the 1980s NES version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? They specialize, one weapon type. Come on, how did you mess that up? Instead, this chick's got a full arsenal under her shell. I'm getting all kinds of Turtle Mary Sue vibes from this.
Seeing as Jenica isn't the first 5th mutant turtle in this adaptation, let's look at the actual 5th turtle introduced. Say hello to the black masked Slash, who first appeared in the April micro series. You may say, hold on Red, Slash is a pre-existing character in the franchise. You would be right, but he's one of several examples in the franchise of a 5th turtle that doesn't stick to the naming scheme. Another example would be when April spent a short time as a Mutant Ninja Turtle. She actually predates Venus de Milo, which some of the other grifters will bring up as the first female turtle. Speaking of Venus, you might say she has a Renaissance art name, but you'd be wrong. The famous sculpture that Venus takes her new name from was created in the 2nd century BCE. And finally, I'll introduce you to the 5th turtle concept created by Eastman and Laird for a 4th live-action film in the 90s named Kirby. The point in this is that there isn't a convention that needs to be stuck to for new turtles, even going back to the creators of the franchise themselves. As for the weapon specialization, it's clearly the Tekokage on our hands. Also, the turtles have always been capable with different weapons, especially in this series. For example, here's Dark Leo during the Cityfall art. His design is most like the concept designs for Jenica. Another example here is the whole team fighting in the Battle Nexus with completely different weapons. I also find it funny that Cracker wants to question the creative team's understanding of the franchise when it's obvious he isn't aware that franchise co-creator Kevin Eastman is on that team.
But for me, and when I have my kid, we're going to be taking a look at the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic books, the ones that don't suck.
Oh no, Cracker, that's not what you think it is. That's the cover for the 2012 annual, which is a part of this comics run and not the original Mirage comics. I get how you'd get confused though. Franchise co-creator Kevin Eastman did write and draw that issue. For all your bitching about wokeness in comics and stuff like that, you didn't give a shit about him in the first place.
I don't understand why all this pandering's going on. Every morning I wake up, I'm seeing in my feed on YouTube or whatever you want to call it, female this, female that, female James Bond, all female cast of this and that. You know, have we not learned from things like Ghostbusters 2016? Have we not learned from all of this?
My suggestion for you, Julie, is to drop the outrage grifters from your feed. But I doubt you'll do that because you need to know what you need to jump on for your own grift.
I am so annoyed because I know why this is being done. And you know, I know people are probably going to say in the comments, but we're not talking about a female character aside from them. I'm talking about this is actually going to be a turtle that's going to be a fifth member of, you know, their gang. So that doesn't make sense because April already to me, I've got a really sore throat, guys, I don't know what's going on. Excuse me. April was already part of the gang, so we already had a female character and I liked her. I thought she was a good, strong character and good part of the team. So I don't understand what on earth they are thinking by doing this. I can't see it working.
Let's be honest, you're really not annoyed, and I can tell that from the asinine argument you're making here. The franchise always builds an extended roster of allies for the Turtles, especially in the longer-running adaptations. For example, let's just stick with this adaptation's extended roster. We have Splinter, Casey Jones, April O'Neil, Alopex, Angel Bridge, Harold Lilja, Pepperoni, Woody Durkins, the Mutanimals, the Fugitoid, the Neutrinos, the Ghostbusters, Renette, Detective Carl Lewis, and many other minor examples. As for Jennika, she has already been a pretty integral ally within Splinter's Foot Clan after the separation of the Turtles and Splinter. With the conclusion of the current City at War arc in November, we're likely going to see Splinter lose control of the Foot Clan. Jennika was likely to end up with the Turtles whether or not she mutated, assuming of course she didn't end up a casualty.
Also, it was pointed out, if Jennika, the fifth turtle in IDW's TMNT comic book, looks and feels like somebody's DeviantArt OC, that's because that's what she is. IDW artist Sophie Campbell created a yellow bandana as her self-insert on DA years ago and repurposed the character for IDW. Oh, sad. No wonder these books aren't selling. I ain't buying a comic made by a DeviantArt user who shoved OC in a series that doesn't even need it. Fan fiction should stay away from the official content. No one cares about fan fiction. IDW Publishing has revealed the new member of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles named Jennika, designed by TMNT artist Sophie Campbell. Again, why is that important? You know why.
Firstly, fuck you for sharing those tweets dead naming and misgendering Sophie with your audience. There are other ways to make your crap argument without being a transphobic asshat about it. Sophie didn't create Jennika, so she didn't force her OC into the comics. Jennika was created by lead writer Tom Waltz and designed by Ken Gehring in her human form. Her being mutated into a turtle was also Waltz's idea. Sophie was contacted by Waltz to design her as a turtle so he could pitch it to the rest of the creative team, as shown in these emails released by Waltz. The color of her bandana and the color of Artemisia's facial markings is a complete coincidence. Artemisia does come up in the emails, and Sophie mentions they should remain separate. Nothing Sophie has done on the book is why the sales are where they are. Typically in comics, sales are highest with issue number 1 and decline over time the longer the series goes on. The trend is to continue to reboot with new number 1s, typically well before where the Turtles are at now. Getting to triple digits like this Turtle series will is rare in the industry, especially if you're not one of the big two.
I'm not actually mad about this. Like the rest of the world, I've completely abandoned the Turtles. I've completely overlooked anything that IDW puts out because it's all trash in my opinion. But, you know, people need something to hold on to. I guess enjoy circling the drain Turtles for another 10 years until you finally get the license out from IDW and have somebody who actually cares about the franchise putting out the books.
It's fine if you don't care to follow the Turtles anymore. My issue is saying you haven't read anything, but still declaring it trash. As I pointed out earlier, franchise co-creator Kevin Eastman is on the creative team of the book. Beyond bringing him in from the get-go, IDW has brought back old comics creative teams to write new material in those universes. This was done in a special 30th anniversary issue, including new stories from Archie, Image, Mirage, alongside a new one from IDW. It's also currently being done with the image reprints, allowing that original creative team to write a conclusion to the story that they didn't get to write the first time. With this stuff, I just don't see the lack of care for the franchise at IDW. But then again, I've picked up these comics and you've never touched them.
Now, I am legitimately interested in a female character, Ninja Turtle, mainly because I thought for years when I was a kid watching the movies, I was always thinking, man, it's so sad that these turtles are never going to get any turtle puss. Because they are the only humanoid turtles in the world. But of course, they don't need a love interest in the story. It's just never been necessary. Boys aren't typically interested in any romance.
I know you realize later in your video that this romance with the turtles isn't being hinted at, but I want to touch on this last bit anyways. Of course, romance isn't necessary, but it's been in every adaptation of the Turtles in some form or another, even going beyond the April Casey romance common to most adaptations. There's Donnie's crush on Jana in Mirage Volume 1, Mikey's crush on Kala, Leo's crush on Lotus Blossom, and Raph's crush on Mona Lisa in the 87 show, Raph's girlfriend in Jara and future Raph's wife Mezcal in the Archie comics, Mikey and Horridus in the Image run, Mikey and Sari potentially having kids in Mirage Volume 4, I say potentially because Volume 4 hasn't gotten a conclusion and that bit of info is up in the air. Leo and Radical are also revealed to be soulmates in Mirage Volume 4. Donnie's crush on April is a major plot point in the 2012 Nick cartoon. Currently in this run, Raph and Alopex are together romantically. I think you get the picture at this point.
As a girl turtle, this design is terrible. I mean, she looks exactly like the other ones. And I guess, maybe that's to be expected. Maybe all turtles are gonna look alike. But with Venus, at least they tried to make her look a little more feminine. I mean, if you think about it like this, if she was originally human rather than originally a turtle, maybe she should look a little bit more human than a turtle. Maybe the mutation is a little bit more minor. Maybe she still has like a female body. Maybe she has tits. Maybe she has turtle tits and curvature, and maybe her skin is a little bit green, she got 3 fingers, but overall she still looks like a human. That would be a little bit easier, at least when it came to distinguishing them apart from each other.
I'll stick with this comic's conventions when demonstrating why human to animal mutation doesn't work that way. Here's Rocksteady, Bebop, Dreadman, and the Gang of 4 as the previous human to animal mutants in the comics. As for tits on mutants, that is reserved for mammalian mutants like Sally Pride and Alopex only. Mutants like Koya, Zodi, Krissa, and Zom don't because they are not mammals. I think I'm going to cut this response here because I think I got most of the coherent complaints about this development out of the way without making the video unbearably long. For those who've read the comics, what do you guys think about the Jenica mutation? For those who haven't read the comics, does this development make you want to check them out? With over 200 issues and 8 years of stories, would you be interested in more videos just laying out this universe and its lore? Whatever you think, rate the video and comment below. If you're new and want to see more, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to turn on notifications.